It's flour. So, whew, now that you guys are out of suspense, why flour? Well, with flour, you can make buns and bread, you can make pizza crust, naan, noodles, tortillas, pie crusts. You can also make sweet pie crusts, like dessert pie crusts, perogies or empanadas, depending on the filling, gyoza or pot stickers, whatever you want to call them, and a whole host of other things like these wonton wrappers that we turned into crispy noodles. I'm going to start by walking you through how to make a basic dough recipe, which I will put in the description box below. I love this recipe because it is very basic tasting in that it can take on sweet flavors, salty flavors, any savory flavors that you would like, and you can use it in so many different ways. I also love how delicious and soft it is while also taking very few ingredients and very little time, especially if you have a bread maker handy or something that will help you with the kneading process. You can fill these, as I said, with different kinds of meats, pulled pork, ground beef, cheese, anything you really like. I've used this same recipe to make calzones, dough for rolls, different kinds of buns, hamburger buns, hot dog buns. You name it, this dough fits the bill. And I love how easy it is to pull together. As long as I have flour and yeast on hand, I know I can pretty much always make this dough. And because I can make this dough, I can make naan, which you would just flatten this dough out and let it brown in a pan and then add some butter on either side. It's really delicious for dipping in your favorite curries or any other stews and soups that you might have. This dough even can keep well in the fridge, and you can reheat the slices of naan later if you don't get to eat them all in one sitting. Or you can make naan pizzas, or you can just make pizza, because this same recipe makes an excellent pizza crust. If you just par bake it in the oven until it springs back to touch and is slightly browned, then you add your toppings on and stick it under the broiler, and everything becomes brown and bubbly and golden and delicious. It's just so nice and tasty, and it holds together really well under toppings. So I've used this for calzones, pizza, and a number of other things. I just love being able to use this basic dough for anything that might strike my fancy. Next, I'm going to show you how I use flour to make a basic noodle recipe that uses very few ingredients. All this uses is flour, salt, and boiling hot water, which will help activate the gluten in the flour. When you mix these ingredients together, it makes a really pliable dough, which you can then roll out and make into noodles. You can boil those in water just like you would regular pasta and drain them, or you can use that thickened water to make a sauce for the noodles. You can also make different pasta shapes with this, everything from ravioli to rotini and other stuffed pastas. You can also flour a surface and roll out thin balls of the dough into flat surfaces that you can add different stuffings to, and to make perogies or empanadas, depending on what kind of stuffing you put in. I put potatoes and peas in this one, so it's more like a pierogi, but then you would crimp the edges with a fork and deep fry these for just a few minutes. Normally, if the fillings are already cooked, you don't have to cook them too long, just until the outsides are golden brown, and these are so crisp and delicious and very filling. They make an excellent and delicious meal on the go. You could also use ground beef and cheese and stuff these full of that, or shredded beef and cheese, and these would be so delicious with different fillings like that. And they're great because they're versatile. You can experiment with what you're going to put inside of them. Now, this same dough can take on different properties. For instance, if you roll out thin bits of the dough into little circles and stuff them full of shredded or chopped up pork and different flavorings, you can actually make some steamed pot stickers that are a softer, more noodle-like texture. I love these, especially if you put sesame oil in them. Oh, they really hit the spot, and they smell so good when you're heating them up. If you end up having leftovers, which they're so delicious you might not have leftovers. This kind of a meal can make you feel like you're eating out even if you don't have the budget to do so. And because you can change up the fillings, you could easily make this a vegetarian meal. Another thing I found I can make with the same dough is to roll this dough out and make wonton wrappers crispy in oil. I would just heat up the oil and then drop in whatever shape I would like of this dough into the oil, and it crisps up really well. It stays crispy for a week or two at a time, and I just stick them in Ziploc bags. They're easy as a snack on the go. Another basic dough I make is a pie crust dough, and pie crust dough can be extremely versatile as well. All you're gonna really need is flour, salt, butter, and a little bit of water, and you've got a basic pie crust dough. I did want to mention that while these are very basic recipes that will get the job done, there may be even tastier recipes out there that include more ingredients, but I'm trying to stick with as basic a recipe as I can in order to make use of the fact that we might only have flour and a few other ingredients on hand. Now with this dough, you can make a pie crust dough, or you could also make a sweet pie like these hand pies I've made. Another awesome recipe I wanted to share with you is this tortillas recipe. All it uses is flour, oil, salt, and a little bit of water. And I love this recipe because not only does it make soft, flexible tortillas, but also it's really easy and simple to make and uses ingredients most people have on hand on the day-to-day basis. The awesome thing about having tortillas on hand is that with it you can make so many different dishes, everything from burritos, taquitos. You can deep fry them and make tortilla chips. You can put them in a layer and make like a Mexican lasagna. It's so delicious and very easy to make. You just put a paper towel on top to steam them to keep them soft, and you have a wonderful batch of tortillas by the end of this recipe. One thing I was surprised to see during my last video I made was that flour at Dollar Tree is $1.25 for a 2-pound bag, while it is still $2 at my local Walmart. So it's one of those few ingredients that now is still cheaper at Dollar Tree. There are so many more uses you can use flour for, from thickening your sauces with flour and a little bit of water, to making biscuits or croissants, or using leftover bread to make stuffing. You can also make homemade gnocchi if you have a little bit of mashed potatoes to mix with your flour. These make a delicious meal, as well as being filling and versatile in that you can put whatever sauce you would like on it. Now, did I miss any options, any ways that you could use flour that you can make something delicious for your family? I'd love to hear what I missed below. I'd also love to hear from you if you agree with this assessment. Is flour the ingredient you need if you are on a tight budget? Or is there another ingredient that you would say is more useful when you are on a tight budget? Let me know what you think, and I will see you all in the next one.